Hi, I'm River Wolfson. I'm your counselor here in Canyons Online. Today, we are going to be going through our college and career readiness planning or high school preparation meeting. This is going to be a lot of the information that you're going to see in the meeting between me and you and your parents. And also, it's just get you ready for high school. So, let's get started. Some important things for you to notice. There are 28 credits to be required in order to graduate from high school. You earn a credit by completing a year-long class. If it's a class that is half a year, then you get half a credit for that. For English, you need 4 years or 4 credits. Social studies, there is a social studies class every year. Science, you have 3 years that you need to complete. Math, you have 3 years that you need to complete. If you're planning on going to college after high school, I recommend 4 years of English or 4 years of math and science. There is a PE class, ninth grade PE called Participation Skills and Techniques, or PST. And then there's a 10th grade PE class called Fitness for Life. Some kind of elective PE, that could be being on a school-sponsored sport or taking yoga or weightlifting or tennis or something like that. And then there's a health class that you have to take some year that you're in high school. Computer literacy. There's a half of a year required. There's a couple different classes, like there's an exploring computer technology, there is a digital business application, and a couple other classes that can count as that kind of a credit. World language, that's like French, German, American Sign Language, Chinese. You don't have to complete any world language in order to graduate, but it's recommended that you complete 2 years of the same language because there are some colleges that do require that. Financial literacy, that's like a money management class. Most people take it in 11th grade, or you could also take it in 12th grade. And then career technical education, that is a kind of credit. That is things like family and consumer science, or welding, or robotics, or digital photography, or computer animation. Anything that's related to a career is going to be in career technical education. And then you have 9.5 credits of electives that are required. An elective class is something that you take that's not, the credit isn't going somewhere else. Okay. There are online options in 9th grade through 12th grade. So here in Canyons Online, we do have high school classes. We have math, English, science, social studies for each of your years. We do have the 9th grade PE class, PE, Participation Skills and Techniques. We do have that one. We have some art classes, drawing classes, photography. We have digital business applications, computer science. So like the digital literacy that I talked about in the previous slide. We do have the health class. And then there are some other electives. It's important for you to remember that you can take up to 4 classes online at a time. So up to 4. You can't take more than 4, up to 4 at a time. You're still going to be a student in your in-person school. It's like if you're going to be going to Brighton and you are taking classes in Canyons Online, you're still a Brighton High School student. You're just taking your classes or taking some of your classes from us. You can take classes in addition to your schedule. So it's like you have your full 8-period schedule, and then you take classes in the evenings when you're at home, or you can have a Canyons Online release in your schedule. If you have the release in your schedule, then you stay at home during those periods and take your online classes from home, much like you are now. If you want to work that out, then you need to talk to your high school counselor, which is not me. It'll be your in-person high school counselor. Let's see. You, no matter how you choose to take your classes, you are still going to be responsible for 8 credits a year, or 6 if you attend Brighton. The more online classes you're taking, the more difficult it is to meet all of those credits. So that's something that you want to plan out carefully with your parents. And when you come in for your meeting with me, with your parent, then we can talk about that, and we can answer some of those questions. Here's an example of the 4 different years of high school. So we're going to start off in the upper left-hand corner. 9th grade, then 10th grade, 11th and 12th grade. You'll notice that in 9th grade, you've got your English class, you've got geography, biology, physics, or chemistry. So that's going to be your science class. You've got math. Some of the schools, like Jordan High School, they have a math support class that you have to take. It's required, but the other schools don't. Participation skills and techniques, that's that 9th grade PE class. Computer science, it's not required to take in 9th grade, but I recommend it. And then, like, if you're going to be taking release time, which is like a religious seminary class, then that would take up 2 of the spots as well. Okay, then you get to 10th grade. 10th grade, you've got your history, which is going to be world civilizations, or AP, European history. That's a college level class. Or then you'll have your English class, you have your science class, that's biology, physics, or chemistry. Then you're going to have your math class, lifetime fitness, that's going to be the PE class that's required for 10th grade. A lot of people take driver's ed in 10th grade. Then going down to 11th grade, you'll have your English class. You have a lot of options. So you'll have your regular English, or English 1010, that is concurrent enrollment. That's a college class. You take it in high school at the high school, and your high school teacher is your teacher, but you also are earning college credit as you go. And then you could be taking an advanced placement. AP means advanced placement. Advanced placement is college credit, but it's high school credit through the year, and at the end of the year, you take a test. And your score on that test determines whether or not you get credit for the class, and your score determines how much credit you get. And it's the school that you go to that determines how much credit you get. Then you're going to have your history class, which in 11th grade is United States history, or AP American history. Then you'll have science, your 3rd year of science, biology, physics, or chemistry. Then you're going to have math, and then a lot of students take the financial literacy. That's that money management class I was talking about. A lot of people take that in 11th grade. Then you'll notice there's a lot more space in elective, and this is where a lot of students will go to, like the Canyons Technical Education Center, CTEC, and that is where you can be developing a skill like welding, or auto mechanics, or video game design, or computer animation, or nursing, emergency medical technician. They've got a law enforcement course. You can be taking, and they take up about half of your schedule, some of the programs. So if you're planning on doing some of those, then you're going to want to make sure you're getting your required credit earlier on. That's the main benefit of having this meeting now, is so that you can know what's coming up and you can be planning for it. 12th grade. 12th grade really is mostly for elective credit. You can be taking, a 4th year of math, a 4th year of science. You could be taking education release and going to a college somewhere. You can be doing the work study program, or there's an apprenticeship program. So there's a lot of options that you have when you get to 12th grade. That's the grade that has the most elective options for you. Okay, remember what I was talking in the last slide about advanced placement. Advanced placement are those high school classes that prepare you to take a test at the end of the school year. You can see this as an example from a couple years ago from the University of Utah. And so if you have this art history, and you get a 3 out of 5. 5 is the highest you can get. If you get a 3 or higher, then the University of Utah will give you 6 credits of humanities credit. That's what it counts for. Okay. Let's say you took the chemistry class. That's a science class, and you got a 3 or a 4. If you get a 3 or a 4, the University of Utah would give you 6 credits of science. If you did the same class and you got a 5 on that test, then they would give you 8 credits of science. Now over there in the remarks where it says placement by department, that's important to remember. Placement by department means that, let's say if you were going to be an English teacher, then they might give you 8 credits. Or let's say if you're going to be a chemist, if you're going to be a chemistry major, or if you're going to study engineering, they would give you the credit, but you would still need to take the chemistry class because you would need to take their chemistry class for engineering. So what it counts for and how much kind of depends on what it is that you're going to be studying and where you're going to be studying. That's how the credit breaks down for advanced placement. This is an example of, let's say a lot of my students, they want to become doctors, so they want to go to the medical school. University of Utah has a fantastic medical program. One of my cousins, he was a hand surgeon, and he went to the University of Utah. This is an example of what you would need to do in order to graduate with your pre-medicine. So this is like before medical school. This is a 4-year plan. Just like a couple slides ago where I had the 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, that is a 4-year plan. That's your high school 4-year plan. This is an example of a college 4-year plan. Okay, so like your first year is the principles of biology, and then you're going to take your chemistry, math, and physics class. Then you're going to have your non-science classes. You'll notice there it says 2 writing classes not waived by advanced placement. Okay, so even if you took the AP English literature class and got a perfect score, that still does not waive that. Now, Writing 2010 is the concurrent enrollment class where it's your high school teacher is your college professor in high school. That does count. So if you took Writing 1010 and Writing 2010, then that would count. Okay, and then you'd have to take an upper division class. So this again is why it's important to have an idea of what it is that you want to be doing after high school, so that you can plan what you do during high school to get you ready for that. If you're waiting until 11th grade, 12th grade to really think about what it is you want to be doing, that's already a couple years too late. Because some of those prerequisites or things that you need to do before that, wouldn't be done. In the Canyon School District, there are a couple of different diploma options. The diploma, that's like your high school graduation certificate. Okay. Their standard diploma is just you meet all of those requirements that we talked about on our second slide there. The 4 years of English, the getting your required credits in social studies and science and math, PE. Okay, that's a standard diploma. If you want to a little more distinction and take a little bit more difficult classes, then you can take the advanced diploma. So the advanced diploma is the same as the standard, except for you take 2 years of a world language. Take 2 years of a world language, and get a grade point average of 2.0 or higher. That's like a C average. Then you can qualify for that advanced diploma. The honors diploma is where you meet the requirements of the other diplomas, but then you take a 4th year of math, so a math class your senior year of high school, and then 2 years of a world language. You have a 3.0 grade point average or higher. That's about a B grade point average, and then meet certain scores on the ACT test. The ACT test is usually you take that in 11th grade, 12th grade, and that helps colleges know your preparedness for college and your likelihood of success. So you'll include your ACT scores when you're applying to colleges or career training programs. And then if you're planning on going to college, I highly recommend 4 years of honors classes or AP classes as much as you can. 3.5 years, so take some extra social studies classes, 4 years of science, 4 years of math with an advanced placement or concurrent enrollment class if you can. World language, 2 years or more. That keeps your options open for attending more schools throughout the nation. Grade point average, 3.5 or higher. And then the benchmarks on the ACT test are just a little bit higher. Okay. This is an example of a high school registration card. So high school registration time is not yet. That's usually the end of January, beginning of February, where high school registration is going to come out, and I'll provide some follow-up so that you guys can be prepared for that and know when it's coming. This is just an example. So here you've got some computer science classes. Remember I talked about 9th grade. Or in order to graduate, you have to take a computer science class. A lot of people will take that in 9th grade. Some of those options could be exploring computer science or digital studies, coding, classes like that. You need to take the participation skills and techniques. They're in the green. That's your PE class. Language arts, you need to choose which of the English classes you're going to be taking. Social studies, either the regular geography or the advanced placement geography. That's the first chance to kind of take one of those advanced placement or college level courses. Math, you'll choose Math 1 or honors. If you have an IEP for mathematics, then you would take that class, or some of the schools have Math 1 and 2 combined, and that makes it so that you can be taking pre-calculus and calculus earlier in high school. You'll choose a science class, biology, physics, or chemistry, or earth science. And then a lot of schools have the advanced placement environmental science as well. Electives. All right, cool. So electives. Health, you have to take one of the purple classes in order to graduate. You don't have to do that in 9th grade. So there's the personal health and wellness, and we have an online version of that as well in Canyons Online. Or the introduction to health sciences. That one is, it combines the health class with also some career technical education where you're exploring careers that are in the health sciences. Release time, so it's in the green here. If you are taking LDS, or Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints release time, that's a seminary, then you would sign up for those. You'll notice that you don't get credit for taking those. They take up space in your schedule, but you don't get credit. But you can still get enough credits to graduate because there's only 28 credits to graduate. 8 credits times 4 years, there's 32 possible. So you need the 28 to graduate. If you're taking the release time, you can still graduate. You just have to make sure you're passing all your classes. World languages. Here's an example of some world languages that are available. French, German, American Sign Language, Spanish. Healthy lifestyles. Those are remember when I talked about you need some kind of an elective PE class? That is an example of some of the elective PE classes that are available. Here are some electives, just some examples of electives. Different schools have different choices. Some have more, some have fewer. So you have fine arts, career technical education. Remember, you need 1.5 credits of fine arts in order to graduate, and you need 1 credit of career technical education to graduate. You'll probably have a lot more than that, just because a lot of the elective classes that you enjoy and that you're taking just because they're fun are also fine arts or career technical education. Okay. Then you'll see that there are some other teacher or counselor recommendation classes. That's like a math lab, English language development, reading, a study skills class, directed studies, things like that. If you are qualified to take those, then your counselor will help you to know. Okay. Other electives, astronomy, that is a science elective. It doesn't count as one of your 3 credits, but yeah, if you like astronomy, or there's like wildlife biology, some other classes like that, they're super fun. This is just a quick slide about my college education. So like I started off getting an EMT certification, emergency medical technician. That's like at CTech, is where you guys would get it. I went to Granger High School and Taylorsville. I did it through Taylorsville High School. So that was my first experience there. And then I was in the Marine Corps ROTC at the University of Utah. That was to be an officer in the Marine Corps. And they helped to pay for my first year because I had high enough grades and I had taken the challenging enough classes that I was able to get a really big scholarship. And so they paid for that. And then because the way scholarships work, you have to meet the qualifications. When I decided I went on a mission, I came back home, I decided I didn't want to be in the Marine Corps anymore. So they didn't pay for any more school after that. Bridgeland Applied Technology College. So I was living up in Ogden, and my job required me to, because I was driving a forklift, I had to have a license. So I went to Bridgeland Applied Technology College, and I got my license to drive a forklift, and I actually drove a forklift for a lot of years. That's why you'll see that this forklift over here lifting up the Bridgeland logo. So that helped me to make more money and be able to support my family while I went back to school to become a police officer. So I got my police officer certification at Weber State University. Then I decided that law enforcement really wasn't my bag, so I decided not to do that. But I continued to drive the forklift, and then I earned my bachelor's degree in psychology from Weber State. That's up in Ogden. And then I went and I got my master's degree in psychology from Utah State University. The cool thing about Utah State University is they have a bunch of different locations, so you don't have to go all the way up to Logan, even though Logan is a lot closer to Ogden than it is to Salt Lake. I was able to go to one a location really close to Ogden so that I could keep working my day job and then go in the evenings. And you'll find later on in the presentation, we're going to talk about how to pay for college. You'll find one of those is working while you go. And that's how I paid for all of my bachelor's degree, was working full-time and then paying for college as I went and doing college in the evenings through online, a lot like we do here. Okay. So at community college, I just a lot of continuing education classes where I would what are some of the ones I took? Just like, I can't think of any that I've taken through Salt Lake Community College. I'm drawing a blank. My favorite job before becoming a counselor was driving a forklift. It was really enjoyable for me because I got to operate equipment, and it was cool. Favorite college memory, I got to present a psychological research paper that I did. I got to go to Denver, and I got to present in front of about 100 other psychologists, and it was pretty cool. All right, how much does it cost to go to college? So I created this, let's see, back 2 years ago, okay, 2020. Here is like the name of the school, the tuition fees, cost, book supply, living costs, all of that. And because you guys have this presentation, you can really take the time to look at this and think about this, okay? So like, let's look at BYU. How much does it cost to go to BYU? Well, it's $5,790 for tuition and fees, okay? Then you add the $872 on there for books and supplies. Then you add your living costs on top of that, and you'll get your total per year, okay? And then usually an undergraduate degree, that is 4 years. So you multiply that by 4, and then you're going to get this $58,928, okay? That's about how much it would cost to go to BYU for 4 years. Let's take the same cost. Let's go down to Salt Lake Community College. Okay. Now, at Salt Lake Community College, they don't have 4-year degrees like a bachelor's degree. They have associate's degrees or certification programs. So they're usually, instead of 4 years, they're usually 2 years. Some of the programs are 3 years. So you take their costs all the way across. And then over here in the total for undergrad degree is about $31,108. Okay. So it's about half what the price for BYU would be. But Salt Lake Community College doesn't have housing and places for you to stay, so that really doesn't get added on because, Anywho, if you're living at home, then you get to save that whole $10,000. Anyways, a lot of people will do it that way. Can go down, you can look at Westminster College. So I included a couple down at the bottom just for your education. That like Harvard, Stanford, MIT, those are considered some of the more expensive colleges. So you see that like 4-year degree from BYU is about $60,000. A 4-year degree from MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, is about $300,000. So it's a heck of a lot more expensive, just because it's a more prestigious university. So you can get a really, really good education no matter what college you go to, and college can be affordable. So here's some of the ways that you can afford to pay for school. So work while you go to school. That's when I talked about the path that I did for my bachelor's degree, where I would work during the day and then do my college in the evening. It can be very, very challenging, especially because, like, if you're like me, I had a family. So I'd also balancing childcare and all that kind of stuff with working full time and going to school. It's possible, kind of gives you some skills and experience, and you avoid debt. But the next one, savings. Savings is really good because money that you already have is money you don't need to pay back. Okay. Most college savings plan, like the Utah 529 college savings plan, you may have heard that on the radio talked about. The state of Utah will match your family contributions to a certain amount. So like if you put in $100 a month or whatever, then the state will put in a certain amount too. It can only be used for your college expenses, but it's tax-free. So when it comes time to go to college, you can use that college savings account to help to pay. Grants are money that is given to you. You have to apply to them. And you have to search for them in your in-person high school. They have a career center or where the counselors are. And they also have somebody that's like the scholarship expert and grant expert. So you can find the grants, apply for them. That's money that you don't have to pay back. They're usually between like $250 and $1,000 a year. Another kind of money that doesn't have to be paid back is scholarships. That's money given to you by the school you attend. And pay attention to this, it's in your quiz later. Money given to you by the school that you attend or an organization, and it doesn't need to be paid back. Most scholarships are due to academics. So a high grade point average from high school, a high ACT or SAT score. Academic scholarships require you to maintain good grades or you'll lose a scholarship. Or like I talked about with my ROTC scholarship, if you meet your obligation, then they can continue paying. Because I chose not to pursue a career in the Marine Corps anymore, they didn't pay for any more. If you drop out of the program, then you would have to repay what they had given you or a certain amount. So scholarships are important to know what you're getting into, but they're a great way to pay for college without having to pay them back. A final way is loans. Loans, they're often by schools and organizations, but they have to be repaid with interest. Interest is you pay back what you borrowed, but then you pay back extra just for the privilege of having gotten to borrow the money when you needed it. That's what a loan is. Use student loans very carefully because they have to be paid back. You can't opt out of it. You can't have them forgiven. They're just, you're gonna pay the loans, especially federal student loans. You're gonna pay them. Okay. Let's see. This is an index of, they call it a scholarship index. So you can see you've got on the one axis, you've got your grade point average, your GPA from high school, and then on the vertical axis, the up and down axis, you have your ACT or your SAT score. So let's say you have a 3.3 grade point average and you get a 32 on the ACT. That'll put you in this orange zone. Orange zone, that's the trustees scholarship. So that is $3,500 a year for 4 years, $14,000. Okay. Let's say you got a 3.7 grade point average and that same 32. That'll put you up in the pink area. That's almost $6,000 a year. So about $24,000 over the 4 years. Okay, that's a demonstration of how your high school grade point average and your score on the ACT test can really match up to help you qualify for scholarships and things. Okay. Here is the same thing for Dixie State, and because you guys have access to the slideshow that you're watching these videos through, you can take the time and pause and And here's one at University of Utah. And then, oh, no, I didn't put the other one in. Okay, so that brings us to the end. Make sure you can go back through this a couple times. You can go back through it with a parent or a guardian. You can make a copy of this and keep it right in your Google Drive so that you can keep referencing it. I think it can be helpful. Especially as the high school registration is going to come up in the end of January, beginning of February. The next step is for you to complete the quiz in the module for this. Okay, for the 8th grade college and career readiness / high school preparation. So take that quiz. It's an open book quiz. You can use this slideshow. In fact, I recommend it. Have this slideshow open. And then you can go through and answer things. It's just to kind of refresh things in your mind and keep them going. I think the more information you have going forward, the better the choices you're able to make. And yeah, so that's it for today. I'm glad that you have been through this presentation. I hope you find the information valuable and useful. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.